My name is Channing Walker, and I have a heart for those struggling with mental illness, fighting cancer, and those in addiction. God has helped me triumph over these afflictions, and I know that He can do the same for you.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Logan Power Show. It's me, your host, Calvin Logan. Definitely. So, hey, we're having some fun here. My name is Calvin Logan, the Logan Power Show. We nationwide, worldwide. We love y'all. Hey everybody, welcome to the Logan Power Show. It's me, your host, Calvin Logan, live here in Goose Creek, South Carolina. Well, it's a blessing to be here. I told you we'll be on the road. We're making an impact. I'm just proud to be honored to be here with Pastor Herman and Pastor Doris Tisdale. This is the church that you want to be at here in Goose Creek, South Carolina. It is also the one and only church where life right now, the impact for Life World Ministries. You want to be here, the church where their whole purpose is Jeremiah 29:11. So I know it's a church that you want to be in contact with. But without further ado, I'm excited to have a good friend with me, a pastor friend, the one and only Pastor David John from Harvest Pointe Church. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
Good. Glad to have you here on the show.
Glad to be here.
Yes. Well, Pastor Johnson was one of was our third building with the Logan Power Show that we were at some time ago. So now we got him on the spot.
That's right.
Here at Pastor Tisdale's church.
That's it.
Yes, sir. Well, further, tell us about yourself. Who is Pastor Johnson?
Well, Pastor Johnson is, of course, one of my biggest things as a veteran. I had the opportunity to serve my country.
Yes, sir.
And, of course, Pastor Johnson, love God, love people, love family, and, of course, love community.
Amen. So you're a veteran, your lovely wife who's been a blessing, and also your son. So tell us about Harvest Pointe Church, how you got started.
Okay, well, Harvest Pointe Church got started. We were originally downtown. We saw a need to go back into a community that definitely could use some love, and we wanted to be able to be and to serve that community, to love on that community, to help bring about transformation into that community, which that community was no stranger to me because in 1999, as a veteran, I came back to Charleston suffering with PTSD, which back then, you didn't go to the VA hospital. That was my thing. VA hospital is not what it is today. And so I didn't know a life of alcohol, drugs. But anyway, I used to be part of the problem in Ferndale. And one night, I'll never forget, February 1999, of coming through the neighborhood. There was one house with the light on in that neighborhood after being robbed. I was trying to get out. My grandmother always taught me. She said, you can't come here doing what you're doing, but if you ever want to change, you can always come home. And this night, I was ready to go home. And I knocked on this door. And the guy told me to get off the porch because you're going to call the cops. And I said, please, sir, all I'm trying to do is just get a cab. You don't have to pay for it. Just call it. I don't have a phone. I just got robbed. And he again threatened to call the cops. Well, I didn't want to go to jail. So that night, it was cold, it was raining, and I slept on the very porch where I now preach.
Wow.
In 1999, I slept on the door steps of Harvest Pointe Church. In 2014, when we were closing, we were going around the building, and as we were closing, I got to the end, and the former pastor was at the door, and he told me, he said, look, you can go to, he said, why don't you talk to the city about getting the gym and the house back? And I said, the house back? What house? He said, a house right there. I said, a house right there? I said, the church owned that house? He said, yeah. I said, 1999, the church owned that house? He said, yeah. He said in 1999, I lived in that house. He said, I lived in that house for 24 years before I moved. That used to be the church parsonage. I said, you don't remember me? I said, 1999, I said I had got robbed, and I knocked on that door. It was the middle of the night. Could have been 1 or 2 o'clock. It was raining, and I said, and I knocked on the door, and I was trying to get in. He said, oh, it was a bad neighborhood back then, and a lot of crime was going on. And I said, oh, don't worry about it. I said, it might have not been you, might have been your son or somebody. I said, but all I know is that night when I knocked on that door, I went from that porch to this porch, and I spent the night on that very porch. I said, but this Sunday, I'm going to get to stand where I once had to lay.
Boy, there you go. That's a walking testimony. It goes to prove and to show you that how God can take you from the dirt and raise you up. Imagine the person that told you that, you know what, you can't, I'm not going to help you. Now imagine if that person had helped you.
Right.
And how God could have changed that situation. Because you never know. Because, God can say, okay, don't touch my anointed. And because they made a decision not to help you, now you taking over something that they can't hold anymore. Because God's giving you the authority. It's amazing. Now I get the house and I get the building. And now I'm the place that I laid my head down. I never knew that 15 years later, I'd be owning that building.
Exactly. And the power of it is, and that shaped my ministry. I didn't know it then, but everything through life, it shaped it to bring me right back to the very same spot. And what was even funny was that I remember telling him, I said, that helped me. That rejection helped me. Because probably if he had helped me, I would not, my worldview, the way I do approach ministry now would have been different. And one of the things that helped me the most was the fact that I said, now I know when I see somebody on the street, I don't see the drug addict. I don't see the drug dealer. Because I don't know, it could be the next pastor of Harvest Point Church. It could be the next deacon of Harvest Point Church. And see, I see them as God sees them. I see them through grace-centered eyes, not judgment-centered eyes.
Wow.
And that's the problem with a lot of reason why we can't reach our community, because we see it for where it is, and we don't see it for what it could be.
Wow.
The Bible tells us in Acts 47, on the day of Pentecost, one of the most greatest days there was, he said, praising God, and they had favor with all the people. Now, don't you think it's interesting that even the people who didn't even believe in the church and Jesus, they still gave favor. They still had favor. So why we don't have that favor today with the church? Most times now, the church offers love, forgiveness, acceptance, grace, mercy. Now, if we're supposed to be loving, forgiving, great, everybody wants those things. But why is it people are so repulsed by the church? Because that's not the PR that the church has. They're known for being judgmental, self-righteous, and those things, and that's how it goes out into the community.
Wow. I told you right now, I got the right person in the building. I've always let people know that never judge a book by its cover. You never know who you be standing next to. I remember like it was yesterday. I remember I was in one building, and Pastor Johnson had said, man, Calvin, you can use the building. At the time, the Logan Power Show was, man, we ain't got no many people coming into the building. Guaranteed we didn't have 8,000 people saying, oh, man, I want to be on this show. But literally, he can testify to this. In about maybe, I would say in 5-6 months, we really impacted the community in such a way that Pastor Johnson had to really talk to his congregation, say, man, we got stuff going on here on a Saturday. You need to come on through. Right. Because his members' lives have changed. I can testify to this. They do a lot for the community. So 2017, what is God saying you got to do here in 2017?
I want to unpack the next generation. I think a lot of times we know the problems. I want to be a part of the solution. And as God has done a work in me, now I'm asking and seeking him to do greater through me. And one of those things are helping the youth of our community. So many things are going on. with our youth. And so one of the things, more mentorship, providing after-school programs, which we have going on now. But this summer, we're having our Harvest Point Arts Academy joining forces with Camp Impact, which we're going to be bringing the arts and theater to our community and allowing kids to come if they want to participate in theater, whether they want to participate in arts, whether they want to participate in dance. All those things will be available to learn to play instruments. We have a former band director who's going to be working with them to even form a community band with some of our smaller kids. So we're looking to really just make a huge impact with our children, the next generation, give them something to do, get them involved, and also helping with our having an entrepreneur camp for our teens, teaching them entrepreneurship.
Amen. Amen. Final thought, Pastor, before you go. 'Cause I know you have a busy work. This man's a very busy man. Person that's watching and say, you know what, Pastor Johnson was robbed. Mm-hmm. He slept outside, and his life has changed. What can you tell that person that is watching right now and say, for instance, their life has transformed, or they lost hope? Mm-hmm. Or they say, like, I need to, get that sense of purpose. Because, a lot of times when all hells break loose, mm-hmm. the last thing you would say, like, man, God, I never know that I'm laying here and then my resurrection would come. Mm-hmm. So what would we tell that person that, say, maybe a sense of hopelessness is not there? How would you encourage them that's watching us right now?
Well, I will first encourage them by letting them know that you are loved. And I think one of the greatest things that the enemy does is to make us feel alone, to make us feel discouraged, to make us feel that we have no hope. But one of the things that I am reminded of, as someone reminded me, if God can raise a dead man who had been dead for 3 days and resurrect him, he can resurrect your situation and anything that you're going through in life. And no matter how far you have gone, no matter how far you feel that you have gone astray, or how far deep down in whatever mess you may be in, it is not outside of the love of God. And the greatest thing about God is God's love never changed. We can't earn God's love because we already have God's love. And all we have to do is live up to what God has already given us. And his grace and his mercy is in abundance. And if you're willing to accept the love that God has already given to you, your life can change and be transformed.
Amen. Amen. Well, we thank you for coming on the show, Pastor.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We're going to have him come again. Hey, everybody, you just seen a life-changing person right in front of my eyes. To my left, Pastor Dave John from Harvest Point Church. That's all the time I got. My name is Calvin Logan with the Logan Power Show, nationwide, worldwide. We're having a ball. We love you. We'll see you on next week.